And now it's time for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. Alright, it's the Ask the Angry Ninja Show. What? All those things. Alright, so we're going to talk about UFC number 4, which brings in a few people, which when you get to UFC 5, you realize how messed up one of them is. One of the first fights is Ron Van Cleef. He's karate and he's 51 years old and he's got like black belts and everything, right? And I'm like, wow, why would they let a 51-year-old man, even being the karate person he is and having won all these championships and everything else, fight in the UFC when there's no rules? And of all things, fight Royce Gracie for his first fight. Well, you find out in UFC because they're showing off all the people on the side of the ring that Ron Van Cleef's actually the IFC commissioner, who's the company or the organization that was sanctioning the UFC fights. So I think it's real interesting that he got in. But you know what? He was a fighter. He knew what he was doing. He didn't disgrace himself in any way. So I guess it wasn't too bad, although his shorts were straight out of the Rocky movie. Man, he had American flag shorts. And just straight up Carl Weathers looking shorts, like but whatever. And it's Royce Gracie, so we can already go where this went. He was a stand-up fighter. He was a karate guy, and Royce Gracie said, well, I'm not going to let you stand up and kick me. I'm going to knock you over, and then I'm going to mess around with you a little bit, get you where I want you, and choke you out. And that's exactly what he did. He got him in the rear naked choke, and Ron Van Cleef tapped. And that's it. It was over. But he's braver than me because he's 51 man got in the ring with Royce Gracie. I wouldn't have gotten Royce Gracie when I was 20. So, actually, that's a lie. I probably would have. I would get my butt kicked too, but I would have tried. All right. And moving on to the next fight. Oh my God. One of my favorite fights couldn't have happened to a better person. Joseon. Who is Chemo's manager. And if you remember my last podcast, we talked about how much I didn't like Chemo or his manager for them running into the ring after Royce Gracie was hurt and celebrating. And this is another thing. This is one of my biggest annoyances in the karate world. So he had a couple black belts and different things. He was a fighter. But he took everything and he created his own thing, right? That's cool. You want to develop your own thing. You think you can make your own fighting style based on what's already happened. That's fine. Name it something. That's cool. Like Bruce Lee had Jeet Kune Do. That's fine. So he made one and he named it Joseon Do. His name's Joseon. He literally named his fighting style Joseon Do. Really, dude? You're not a little egotistical? And he is going up against Keith Hackney. You remember Keith Hackney from the last one? He's the one that fought a sumo wrestler and broke his hand? Yeah, that guy. That guy came back. So, this is by far one of the most amazing fights of all time. Go back. I don't care if you watch the whole UFC. Don't bother. You don't have to. Just watch this fight. It's the second fight on the card. Holy crap. So Keith Hackney gets him down on the ground, gets him to the ground and pound position, but he's facing kind of the wrong way. He's not really in a position where you can punch him in the head. So he punches him in the other head. Over and over and over. He literally just keeps dick punching this guy over and over. And the guy eventually taps out due to dick punch. No other holds. He kind of had him around the throat with one hand and a kind of a pressure point kind of thing, and was punching him in the dick at the same time. And dude tapped. Due to dick punch, which every time I watch that fight, I cringe just a little bit. I'm like, Joseon Do won't have no Joseon kids because his dick don't work no more. It gone. His dick is dead. Yeah, Joseon Do. And I'm not trying to make fun of the language. That's literally how they said it. Joseon Do. So Joseon went down due to dick punch. I don't really know what to say to that. That's what happened. All right, next fight. The returning champion, Steve Jenham of the Ninja Clan. Yeah. Comes back, and he fighting a boxer. Look, guys, this is UFC 4 at this point. I don't care how good of a boxer you are. Learn some ground shit. Period. And that's basically what happened. Steve Jenham gets him down. Guy has no comeback for that. Nothing. He's out. Done. Psh. Gone. He's out. It's over. Once he gets him down, fight takes a little bit, takes a little while for Steve Jim to get him, but the fight's over. Boxers just did not learn anything, protect stuff on the ground. Yeah, he just goes ground and pound to an armbar, and I gotta give Melton though some credit. He took a lot of hits on the ground. Like most people would have tapped or been knocked out, but no, he took a lot of damage to the point where Steve Jones was getting tired from punching him. That's why he went to an armbar. All right, and then we're moving on to Anthony Marcy. I can't say his name. So Muay Thai guy versus Dan Severn. This is the first fight for Dan Severn. This is the beginning of the beast. And Dan Severn's a a wrestler, an Olympic wrestler, 70-something titles, like just a wrestler. And you watch him, and especially this first UFC, like he didn't strike. He didn't. And he gets him down, and he chokes him out. It was awesome because first time in the UFC you see the suplex used, because like I said, he was a wrestler, and he full on grabs the guy against his will, throws him over back, and slams him on his head. It was awesome. And like he did it twice, and the second one he actually hurt the guy. I think if he'd been able to suplex him one more time, the guy would have been done. But the guy was able to get his weight down and not be suplexed. But he got choked out anyway. All right, next fight: Keith Hackney, the striker, versus, you guessed it, Royce Gracie. Look, you strikers, you're going to beat Royce Gracie. You can't let him take you down. And of course, Royce Gracie took him down. Keith Hackney did everything he could, but Royce Gracie is a boa constrictor. Once he latches onto you, you're done. It's over. Armbar. Keith Hackney right out of the fight. It was over. Not a lot about that fight. It's exactly what you expect from a Royce Gracie fight. Guy tried to strike. Royce Gracie didn't let him. He grabbed him, put him on the ground. Bam. Over. Next fight. Next semifinal fight. Steve Jennum is out. They didn't say what the injury was that I heard. I might have missed it, but he was out. So they brought in an alternate Marcus Bassett, which is a karate guy, versus Dan Severn again. And again, Dan Severn doesn't really strike. He kind of gets a hold of you, slams you on the ground, and then he chokes the guy out. He does a really unique choke. I didn't even expect it coming. It was pretty awesome. But yeah, he chokes the guy out. And move on. Then we have Dan Severn, the wrestling grappler, versus Royce Gracie. And I really feel like in this fight, if Dan Severn had thought he could strike, or known to strike, or how to strike from the ground and pound, because he was in the top position, with his strength and size, he probably would have won the fight against Royce Gracie. Because Royce Gracie doesn't strike. He blocks really well. He does really well. Dan Severn was much larger, much bigger, much stronger, and in one level kind of dominated the whole fight as far as controlling Gracie until Gracie found an opening, because that's what Gracie does. But I feel like if he had punched him and hit him, I don't know if Royce Gracie could have survived Dan Severn. And we will never find out because of what happens in the next UFC. But that's beside the point. So I love how stupid the announcer looked in this one too. So Royce Gracie tries to set up an armbar, doesn't really work, does a couple things, and eventually sets him up in a triangle choke. Right? The one arm in, the legs around his head. Dan Severn's standing up, right? Like, pretty much standing on Royce Gracie's head. And he's getting him in this position. And the announcer's like, there's no strength in this position. He's not going to be able to get him in the armbar like this. This isn't going to work. Royce Gracie's blah, 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 blah. And then out of nowhere, Dan Severn starts tapping because he can't breathe. I'm like, yep. When you go back and watch these old ones, you just realize how much the announcers just did not know what was going on. They didn't know what they were doing. They were out of their depth. They didn't understand the awesomeness of jiu-jitsu and the Gracie jiu-jitsu specifically. And that's it. Royce Gracie puts him in the triangle choke with the legs and gets him. Dan Severn taps out. And I'll say it again. If Dan Severn had thought there'd be a couple positions where he would have thrown some strikes, I don't know if Royce Gracie would have made it. But that's not what happened. He didn't throw strikes. Royce Gracie bid his time, and bam, triangle choke out of nowhere, fight over, while the dude was standing on his head. Because Royce Gracie's that awesome. Just saying. I know there's been better fighters since then, and there's some of the fighters now, like undefeated and everything else, but at that time, in that place, in that world, in that particular incident, in that time frame, that 5 years of all this going on, no fighter in the world could stop Royce Gracie. This is why all of them went down to Brazil and started training with the Gracie and the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. That's why Jiu-Jitsu is such a big thing now. That's why it's mixed martial arts now. And you have to know it all or you lose. Because if you're just a striker and you go in there against somebody with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, you're going to get hurt bad. And you ain't going to be able to fight no more. Actually, that's not true. They don't. We can't fight no more. But still, they mess you up. So yeah, that's the man. Royce Gracie, honestly, single-handedly made the UFC great. Because Ken Shamrock sucks. Sorry, guys. Ken Shamrock won like 3 fights and quit. What he does in the next UFC is fucking disgusting. We'll talk about that on the next time I talk about UFC 5. Disgraceful. Fucking bitch move. I'm not bit. I don't. Yeah, we'll get to it because. But Royce Gracie's the way he fought, the way he brought people in that people weren't expecting, like that's what Royce Gracie did, and it was what made Royce Gracie so great, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. That's why he's one of the greatest fighters that ever lived. Would he survive in today's UFC? No, he won't. Because the thing about Royce Gracie fighting, because is time limits. Royce Gracie's style, the way he fought, I honestly believe he could probably this Royce Gracie versus any fighter now would still win or have a very good chance to win against any of them if there wasn't a time limit. Royce Gracie can't function in a 5-minute round because the way Royce Gracie fought was he'd get you down, he slowly worked in the position where he wanted you to be in, and then he would tap you out. And he would take as long as it took because he had the stamina. He didn't care. He didn't get tired. And he would get you as long as you were trying to fight back. So, yeah, I still think if it was this Royce Gracie, the 1994 Royce Gracie, obviously he's like, 11 now. We're talking about UFC 4, and I think they're up to UFC 276. So there's been a few. Royce Gracie could win. He could. Now, that's not the world we live in. That's not how it works. But now they have rounds and time limits and all that stuff. And that's really was the end for Royce Gracie. Once they started putting time limits on fights, he's like, that whatever, and it goes to a draw. Like, what dumb shit is that? But the time limits were the end for Royce Gracie. He's not a time limit fighter. Because he has the stamina, he will beat you. And that's how he wins. Yeah, that's it. All right, guys. That is the podcast for the day. UFC number 4. Royce Gracie back on top, as it should be. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed the show. Have a wonderful day. That's right. I hope everybody enjoyed the show, and I hope you enjoy all the shows on the Ninja Podcast Network. Please check out our other shows. Ask the Angry Ninja Show, Angry Ninja Presents Not a Kid's Game, our D&D podcast, Chris Allen's Audio Stories, where I read some short stories to you that I wrote. Ninja and Moonshine, Middle of the Road podcast. Guy from the left, guy from the right, coming together and trying to meet in the middle. Doesn't always work out like that. The Ninja News and Politics Show. Outrageous Stories with the Angry Ninja and the occasional special guest. And Sports Talk with Ninja and JMO. Those are the shows. If you want to reach out and contact me or anybody on any of the shows, you can reach me and I'll pass on the message at cman2342 on Twitter, or an email, asktheangryninja@gmail.com, or just get on Facebook and search for the Ask the Angry Ninja Show, and we'll reach out and talk to you. We love questions. We'll answer your questions, any topics you want to cover, or hey, if you want to mail me a prize. I like prizes. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and have a wonderful night.